Hey there, it's Sven. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the differences and the ups and downs of carrying two different Aboriginal Australian weapons. One of them is the woomera. This is one that I made. It's not exactly perfect to how they would have originally been made, but it's a good enough stand-in for now. And the other one is the Kylie, or Carly. They have a lot of different names. Throwstick. This one made by Ben Scott at throwsticks.com. Let's just get into it. Okay, so sorry for that silly little transition. So right here we have the two weapons in question. We got a Kylie, as I said, made by throwsticks.com, and a woomera made by me. This isn't the best, most accurate example of a woomera, but it'll stand in for now. And we also have a spear. So fundamentally, the idea between these two are the same. An animal is far away from you and you want to kill it for food, and you need a way to do that. So these are both different methods of reaching far out to take the animal. A Kylie does that by being like a frisbee on steroids, which you'll see later, and that is when you throw it, it'll hover above the ground for upwards of 120 yards to hit the animal right where you want to. Unlike, say, a ball, like a baseball or something, when you throw it, it doesn't follow a ballistic trajectory, meaning you go up and then fall and hit. It'll hover exactly where you throw, level to hit. The woomera / atlatl does follow a ballistic curve, but its benefit is that it makes your arm anywhere between 1 1/2 to 2 times as long as it would be normally. And that allows you to put far more energy behind this spear due to leverage than you could with just your regular hand. I have several other videos about this, and there are other videos online as well. So with that, it allows you to, one, throw a spear that's much flatter in trajectory to hit your target, and also it helps you throw it farther in case your target's very far away or you're throwing at, say, a herd of animals. And it also allows you to put more power behind it when it actually hits, so it's more likely to kill the target. I have a plane going overhead. Sorry, I live near an airport, so just gotta get a little used to that. So they're both good multi-tools in their own right. The Kylie, if you're walking through brush, can be used to chop a lot of the broken branches out of your way, for example. It's really good for dispatching game because you can slap with the sharp side and it'll dispatch an animal real quickly. It's good for making music when you tap together. There's many different uses for these. You can use them to dig with. They're very strong for that. The uses are almost endless. Sorry, woomera are not that dissimilar in that and there are multiple uses. Many times they'll have like a flint or a chert or a quartz stone at the end that you can use to cut material with and process game. This wide body is also really good to use as a plate. Oftentimes they are also dished quite well, which means you can hold water with it if you dam up the edges. They're used to mix paint. There's many things. I believe they were also used as a way to, you sort of use it like this, and you could roll like your spinifex resin onto spear shafts and make it really straight. So you'd kind of have, if I just take this spear and you have the spinifex resin, you could hold it down and you could roll it on so it's good and smooth, kind of like that. Among many other things. I've even seen some videos where they use these to process game by chopping the hide from the meat, just from the thin edge. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, so now that we've gone through some of the uses of these, there are many more. I will go on to how they fare in hunting. So the big thing about a woomera is that you need ammunition, you need a spear. Whether you make it yourself or you find it or it grows naturally, which you can find a lot in bamboo or river cane. They make really good spears just on their own, which I'll show you later. You do need this extra ammo piece, I suppose. For a Kylie, it is the ammunition, which has its ups and downs. One upside is that, well, you always have it on hand as long as you have it on hand. That's all you need. As long as you have the Kylie, it'll work. Downside is if you lose the Kylie, well, you have to make another one, and that's more challenging than you would think. These are not quite as easy to make as a lot of people first assume. Tuning them, as you can see, it has tuning marks and everything, is a very, very skilled process that takes years and years to master. For a woomera, if you lose all your spears, well, at least you still have the woomera, and you can make a new spear. With the kind with the stone tip at the bottom, you can actually make your spears just with this. Traditional Aboriginal spears, as you see, don't have fletchings, so you don't even need that. You really just need a stick. I will be making a video on the differences between fletched atlatl shafts and non-fletched ones pretty shortly here. I'm just working on making some fletched atlatl shafts. That's a little bit of a spoiler on my thoughts about fletched atlatl shafts. Anyway, so yeah, with that, if you lose all your spears, well, you still have the other part of your system, and you still have the difficult to make part of your system. With a Kylie, if you lose it, you've lost, well, the entire thing, so therefore you've lost the most difficult part of the system to make. I'd definitely say the woomera, if you want to make a woomera style, is going to be the most difficult part to make. However, if you have something like a simple atlatl style like this, which is just a stick with a spur, this one being more fancy than it has to be, the atlatl is actually pretty easy to make on its own. But still, as you'll see, I'll use this one later in the video with this piece of bamboo that is literally just unstraightened, regular old bamboo that I found in on my trip to Washington. Did nothing to it but reinforce the end on both sides. I'll show you how that throws with just a stick, basically. So definitely atlatls are easier to make. When it comes to carrying, you can carry a lot of Kylies without any real issue. They stack very well together. They don't weigh much. They weigh a bit because they need that momentum, but they're easy to carry quite a few of them at once, and they don't take up much space. The woomera, sure, it's easy to carry by itself, but for each throw you want to make, you need another spear, and these spears are quite long. This one's over 2 meters, and this one I think is about 2 meters. So you're now carrying with several 2 meter plus long sticks that can be a little bulky. So take that for what it is. All right, now on to game you can take with them. The Kylie, you can take everything from rabbits, mice, birds, all that, all the way up to kangaroo and emu sized animals. I wouldn't be surprised if you could take coyote, or I guess in a more standard dialect, coyote or coyote, or even deer. If you get a good shot at the legs, I'm sure you could break a leg with this. That's something I want to test later, not on a living deer. Keep in mind, it'd be on a deer that I take with a rifle or a bow or something, but it's something I want to test. And I'm also going to be going down to Florida and hunting green iguana with these, and maybe tegu if I see them. But really the animals you're limited to this are something around the give or take high 20s, low 30 kilo range, give or take 40-ish pounds, or unless you're a really good shot, then you can take things up to, well, man size. These were also used to hunt people, I guess, in warfare, and kangaroos are about the same size as a person, so they can take bigger game. Just gotta check legality. Same thing with all these. Make sure you're being ethical. For a woomera, well, these take everything from squirrel to, well, they traditionally atlatls would take mammoth. So really, it's you can take any sized animal you want as long as you have a spear made for it. So you're not really limited on that front. Accuracy, that is completely down to your own personal ability, I guess. If you're more familiar with throwing things, this will be pretty well for you, like frisbees. If you're more familiar with like baseballs or something like that, this might be a bit more familiar to you, the woomera. It really just comes down to practice. But I will say that when it comes to long range, distance wise, I definitely give the Kylie the benefit or the point over the woomera. I can throw just about as far with both of them. However, when I throw with the woomera or an atlatl, I'm throwing in a ballistic arc. It has to go up and then fall down upon my prey item. Meanwhile, if I throw with the Kylie, I never have to worry about that. I never have to think, how high do I need to throw? I can just throw directly at my target and it will fly out at the exact level that I released it at the entire way to the end of its flight. So even if my target is 100 meters out, I can, or give or take 300 feet, I can literally throw this and it will just hover directly at it that entire way. The only problem is that you exponentially become less accurate only because the slight variation in distance from where you throw equals a farther point away. So if you miss by just a fraction of a margin close by, the Kylie will be very far off on a horizontal plane. But still, you're only really worrying about 2 dimensions when you throw this. While in the atlatl/woomera case, you're worrying about 3 dimensions if you ever need to throw far. So to that, I give the Kylie the upper hand. I also give the Kylie the upper hand when it comes to reloadability and, I guess, quick to go-ness. If you have this in hand, you just throw it. That's all you need to do. When you're walking around, you're probably not going to have your woomera actually spurred with a spear. So when you see something and you need to throw quickly, you need to spur it and then throw. That can be a little difficult. When it comes to throwing in the bush, the Kylie can do well because it's kind of small, but at the same time it leaves a pretty wide footprint when you throw. So it's more likely to get tangled up in brush. If you throw it up in the trees, there's a good chance it's going to hit a branch or something. While that isn't to say that that doesn't happen with the spear and the woomera, it's a much smaller point to go through the bushes with. That isn't to say that it won't deflect. It can definitely hit on the sides if it's any bit not straight, and that'll deflect it. But from my personal experience, I can throw into nooks and crannies a little easier with the woomera. And of course, that brings up another thing. The atlatl woomera is a piercing instrument. Meaning its ability to take game is completely down to how well it can pierce it. And piercing is generally pretty good for killing. The Kylie is a really good hunting tool, but it is a blunt force killing tool. So you have, it's a pretty sharp edge and it's spinning very quickly at high velocity. So when it hits, it really does chop. I would not doubt if this would break your shin if it hit it. But that being said, if the animal you're hunting is particularly resistant to like high impact hits, like say you're hunting a fat pig or something, or like a hippo, this is never gonna do, not that I'd ever say you should hunt a hippo with something so small, but like something that can just take a lot of impact, the Kylie might not be your best bet. Something like a rabbit, yeah, or an iguana or something, once that gets smacked with this, it's done for. It's way too much impact. But for anything that you really need to pierce, it's just a different kind of hunting. Another benefit to a woomera is that you can throw it into water. Kylies traditionally are so heavy that they sink. Mulga wood is more dense than water, and also this polycarbonate is also more dense than water. So these will sink if you throw it into water. Also, it doesn't transfer its energy into the water quite as well. Meanwhile, the woomera, because it's more punctury, you can throw this spear into the water a lot more effectively, and it'll penetrate deeply into fish. Also, because it's a penetrating implement instead of a blunt force, the Kylie might break the back of the fish. Then you need to go grab it. It's doable, but it's definitely a little more difficult. The woomera will stab through and into the fish, and that will impede its motion in swimming to make it easier to collect later. So they both have their ups and downs. I mean, Aboriginals carried both of these for a reason. There's no reason that you could only have just one or the other, as long as your skill set allows for making them, or your kit allows you to carry both. But they're both useful in their own rights, even if they're a little different. I guess for now I'm going to put some of my words into action and show you some distance throws. Disclaimer, I'm not going to be throwing as hard as I can with this because I don't want to accidentally hit a house. So you're less likely to see it go its full range where it goes up at the end and falls, and it's more likely to fall on me. That's just in the name of safety in the area I'm in. And I'm also going to be throwing at a box to show you some, cool accuracy footage. So let's get that going. All right, so first throw is going to be with the woomera and spear. Just like that. All right, now for the Kylie. As you can see, let's go inspect the damage. Okay, so this really exemplifies what I was talking about with the difference between a broad stroke of an attack, how it really cut through a big chunk of this bottom, and the more pinpoint puncture that the woomera gives. I was aiming for the same general spot, so I just wanted a little off so that way, I wouldn't be damaging my other hit, if that makes sense. So I can give you this demonstration. But you can see a big puncture and then a massive sweeping saw blade cut. As you can see, big damage with the Kylie. Super good. All right. See, both are accurate. I used this box to carry these all out here. I probably should have thought of that before I destroyed the bottom. All right, so for the distance, I'm going to be using an atlatl, just this stick style. And as I said, this is an unmodified piece of bamboo I found in Washington, not even straightened. I don't know how well this will turn out on camera, but I'm going to try and get some shots of me throwing it far so you can see. All right, now to show you how far that went. This far, and it's stuck in the ground. That far. So yeah, pretty effective, huh? I'm gonna leave this here so you can use it as a benchmark for my Kylie throw. Again, another disclaimer, I am not going to throw the Kylie, that's where I threw it from. I'm not going to throw the Kylie full strength, because if I miss horizontally by just a little bit, I might send it into somebody's yard, and you got to be responsible. So I'm going to prioritize accuracy over strength, but this should give you a little bit of an idea as to the distances that can be thrown. All right, it's super hard to see out there, even with my own eyes, but the bamboo stock is sitting up right about here-ish. I can barely see it with my eyes. So I'm gonna throw this, again, not full strength, but we'll see. All right, let's go see where that landed. As you can see, here's the Kylie, throwing a little bit less than full strength, and where my bamboo spear landed. So as you can see, had I thrown it with full strength, these would actually be just about the same distance, generally speaking. I could probably throw this one a little farther. I can definitely throw the Kylie a bit farther. But I also got to contend with, as I said, houses. I really don't want to hit that power line. So always got to combat those things. But as you can see, distance, they are pretty on par. The only difference is that the atlatl / woomera is going to be more of a up and down that'll get you. Like, you either shoot too far or too low, or throw too far or too low. The Kylie, that can still get you, but it's not as likely. Just like going too far to the right or left can get you at the woomera or atlatl, but it's not as likely. So yeah, with a Kylie, it's going to be more the right or the left that gets you, generally speaking. So now I'm going to put my camera out way back where I just threw it and see how close I can get to breaking my camera. So fun fact on that throw, the atlatl didn't go as far as the Kylie. So that just goes to show, depends on the throw. Let's see how close I can get to breaking my camera now. Hey, another example of where my atlatl did not throw anywhere near as far as the Kylie. Nice. Gotta be careful throwing this way. Almost to the fence, just where I wanted it. Nothing too far. Alrighty, so I hope you liked my video. I would do more throwing, especially with the woomera, but I have a little bit of tendonitis in my arm, so it kind of hurts to throw with the bigger, heavier, more wind resistant atlatls. So for those long throw shots, I just use the regular atlatl. One, to show off how effective just a regular unmodified piece of bamboo / river cane can be, but also because, as I said, I gotta take it easy on my arm. I've been doing a lot of practicing coming up for that iguana hunting trip in Florida I want to do. So anyway, with that being said, I think that showcases some of the difference between woomeras and Kylie's in actual use. Just a quick recap, they're both multifunctional. This one's more of a multifunctional, like active tool, I guess, like chopping down dead branches in your way, pacifying game by finishing it with a blow, or you know, that kind of stuff, digging holes. And this one seems to be more of a passive tool when it's not used as a weapon, such as being a plate kind of thing, or something that you use to, like, as a cutting board or something to hold steady so you can have a flat surface to work on, that kind of thing. That isn't to say that neither of these have active or passive uses outside of what I said is general, but just the general case, that seems to be my impression. And as you can see, for long distance throwing, I can throw both of them just about the same distance. The Kylie, contrary to what that first part of the video showed, I did some more throwing, as you see in the video, and the vast majority of the time the Kylie went farther than the atlatl, even though I wasn't throwing the Kylie full strength, both to preserve my elbow and just to avoid hitting the power lines and people's houses and that kind of thing. But I don't see why you wouldn't want either of these in a survival situation. They're both wonderful. If I was in thick brush, the Kylie could work for throwing overhand. The woomera is going to be a little bit more pinpointy through that. Out in the field, where game can be far away, I definitely prefer the Kylie because I can throw that much farther and be more accurate with it, because it'll be on a much more level playing field, pun intended, literally. And if it's up close in a hunting situation, well, like in an average hunting situation where your target's only 10 plus meters out max, maybe a little more, either would work just fine. Just keep in mind with a Kylie, if it's for bigger game, you're going to want to aim at the legs, or depending on the game, the head or neck. Like an emu, hitting it in the legs is work, hitting it in the neck is definitely effective. For something like a deer, I'm not so sure hitting it in the head would be super effective to kill it. It'd stun it, but I don't think it would. It might knock it out. I don't know if it'd kill it. But in the legs, it would definitely break a leg, which would incapacitate it, there we go, enough that you can get on it with another tool. With the woomera, I mean, you're going to want to miss the legs, obviously. You're going to aim more center of mass, which is not the best option for a Kylie on a bigger game animal. Smaller game animal, yeah, center of mass all day. It doesn't really matter if you hit a rabbit in the back with this. It's not going to be moving afterward. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little idea of their use. If I missed anything, hit me in the comments. If you think I did a good job, well, do with that what you like. Anyway, catch you around. Hey, dope.